So when I was a kid, I went to an emotionally and physically abusive camp for borderline delinquent Jewish boys. That wasn't the marketing campaign, but that's what it was. And every day we had a very fixed schedule. It was, you'd be jarred awake by blaring trumpet music. Then you'd have breakfast, then you'd clean your bunk, then you'd have instructional swim, where you would be ritually humiliated in the guise of teaching you to swim. Then you'd have league games, where you'd be broken up into teams, and the better athletes would get to make fun of the worse athletes. Then you'd have electives, where it was less structured, and the more athletic kids could make fun of the less athletic kids. Dinner and free play, then you'd have evening activity, which was kind of open, kind of different thing every night. Sometimes it would be more league games, sometimes we'd go see a movie, whatever, it was evening activity. When I was about 13 or 14, my bunk counselor, his name was Biff. Now, that wasn't the name on his driver's license, but that was the only name anyone, it was sort of the right name for this guy. And that was the only name we knew. Now, as a matter of fact, Biff had two driver's licenses. One that was issued by the state of Massachusetts, and in another, the Massachusetts ID said that he was 19. He also had another license that said he was 22. Now, Biff had a fake ID, the one that said he was 22, for the reason that many 19-year-olds have fake ID to buy booze. But there was a second reason, which is that at this time in Massachusetts, you needed to be 21 in order to rent hardcore pornography, which Biff did on a regular basis. Now, you need to understand two things. One is that the story takes place before the internet, which is why he was renting it. And then the second thing, which is more just so you can picture this scenario properly, this was before DVDs. So Biff had in the bunk, since he was a counselor, he could have electronics. He had a TV VCR combo, and he would bring back from the video store VHS tapes of classic porn movies. Things like Smooth Operator, which was about an unusually libidinous telephone operator, or Midsummer Night's Wet Dream. If you know the play, I think you can figure out what happens in that one. It was pretty much a literal adaptation. So the bunk is basically just one big room with beds down each side, and at the front is Biff with his movies. And I really don't think he was trying to cause trouble or pollute our young minds, but he just, he's a counselor at an overnight all-boys camp. He has to spend 24 hours a day surrounded by boys. This was his only sort of romantic outlet. Plus his name was Biff. And the thing about these movies is that, I might be trying to do my summer reading, so I'm sitting there on my bed, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. In the meantime, 3 feet away, so you can't do anything else while one of these movies is on in the bunk. So inevitably, all like 20 of us are gathered around this 12-inch television. I'm taking notes. Next. And so one night we're watching, and the camp director walks in, but we're so engrossed we don't even notice that he's in there. And at some point he says, "What is this?" And one of the kids in the bunk says, "Evening activity." So I should say at this time I was I was 13 or 14, I didn't really know much about sex, so for a long time I thought those movies really informed my idea of what sex was supposed to be, and it took a long time to figure out that that's not how you're supposed to do it. Perhaps embarrassingly long. But I think this experience taught me two things. One is, don't hang around with guys named Biff. And then the second thing is, if you're going to watch porn, don't take it too seriously. It's just evening activity.